See the rainbow, touch the rainbow. This is Gay Pride, Manchester 2015. 25 years in the making.
The rest of you going, I haven't got a clue who you were. I was in Cucumber and Banana. Do we watch Cucumber and Banana?
Definitely.
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah, and I'm in Doctor Who this year as well. Oh, Doctor Who gets you excited, doesn't it? Never mind that. Doctor Who, yeah, tell us all about that. So it's lovely to be here. It's lovely to have been asked to be a part of Manchester Pride, and it's lovely to be here to introduce people onto the stage for all of you lovely people. We all having good fun? Have you all been over to the Pimm's truck? No, so apparently they were doing free samples. I don't know if they still are. No? So it's been a lovely day so far, and I'm so glad that you enjoyed Claire. It now falls to me to introduce our next act. You guys ready for your next act? I can't hear you. You guys ready for your next act? Fantastic. Our next act is a poet. You're going to absolutely... They're fucking awesome. So, please, if you can, all start clapping your hands. Start clapping your hands. Come on, all of you, clapping your hands. That's too polite. Okay, right, let's start again. Okay. On the count of 3, I want you all to give the biggest round of applause you can. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now stop that. That's okay, right? Okay. On the count of 3, I want you all to cheer as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. That is absolutely fantastic. I think that is enough noise to bring on our next act. You guys ready? Without further ado, please welcome to the stage the marvellous Jay Walker!
Hello, Manchester. So I'm going to start off by taking you on a journey. And I just need to warn you, it's anything but polite. So we're going down to the big smoke. And by the time I've finished with you today, it's going to be the big steam. This one's called You're So Fucking Sexy. I'm sat on the tube thinking you're so fucking sexy. I'm wetter than lube already. So fucking sexy. I like that. My legs and chest are gym stiff, that I'm hard and fast. In fact, I'm pretty blasted. So fucking sexy. Flexibility's next. A firm effort in that long stretch untogether. Pressing longing. Pushing wanting, spinning it. Always and any which. Until I get me back to you. Get to flesh it out with you. When, again, at last, I am fucking sexy. Thank you, thank you. So I've come down from, I live in Church Stretton, in Shropshire. Anybody else made it down from the hills? Woohoo, at the front there, let's hear it for the front. And I met some people from Derbyshire earlier. And they're here, they're very nervous for me. So I just want to reassure them I've got a book with my words in. So, no, I actually grew up in South Manchester. I went to Loretto Altrincham. We've got any more convent girls? Woo-woo! If only the nuns could see us now, eh? And so I'm late to a lesbian thespian. It wasn't my first career choice. I went into nutrition as well. And this next poem brings the appetites together. And if you sat at the front, I'd watch out for the exploding ginger biscuits. It's called Out of My Mind. I've been trying to get you out of my mind for the latest long haul. 48 hours we agreed, with no call, which seemed a reasonable challenge to rise to at one time, and is now beginning to pall. No Gmail, no messaging, no Skype, no text, absolutely no parcel on the step. Sentences can be written, but not sent. Abstinence. I am being abstemious. Abstemiousness. Us. Your abs. see me. No. No, you're out of my mind. You're out of my mind, but astride my face. I'm walking to Tesco's and can't see further than my nose, just above your clitoris, and my wanting tongue circumnavigating your depths. Woo, like that. After a while, I notice pedestrians sniff at the air as the wind picks up by M&S, dispensing an offshore drift of sea scent. So the spectacle wearers puzzle through salt-misted lenses and redden a bit, and the pavement feels pebbled, and you can taste the tang of wet silver and ocean and hair, and are properly aware of the fabric rub of those clothes on your thighs, and focus in on the intimacy of texture and pattern and shape, which process blanks out the traffic racket, and you're totally there. You're totally in the wave of the moment, still walking on, feeling splendidly sleazy. This is awesome. Easy. Some people get nervy, avert eyes, pretend, but others stride out all bravado, and you can see how they want to laugh and slap a stranger's back and let them in on this delicious secret. Only don't quite dare to. Anyway, I'm breezing into Tesco's now, adrift and afloat. You're close. I've got you to myself. When I hold you by the hips and lift the ginger biscuits off the shelf, you come all over Manchester, all over my throat. Woo, thank you. So, it's not every day you can notch up nectar like that on your supermarket cards, more's the pity. And you'll notice I'll start off that one, Gmail, messaging, Skype, text, all wonderful things, wonderful routes to getting new material for poetry. And this next poem is a homage to Skype. It's called Becoming. Are we ready, Claire? Are you ready for the ride? Excellent, let's go. Let's do it, Claire, let's do it. I liked it. When I read those poems last night on video Skype, I took them. Like a smooth, cool draft, took you through them, took my time, unfurling each word along the wet nerve of your spine. I liked that you became quiet, seeing anticipation visit its misty chrysalis about your purloined thighs and breathe you there. I liked noticing minutiae of movement, how your eyes closed over the moment. I wrote for us, transposed for us last night on video Skype. I quickened, seeing how those slow words rose up in your throat. I imagined how the big blush that quickly flushed your face had nosed the short distance upwards from the mosh pit of your crotch. In the pittance of seconds, the first deliverance of words rolled along and spilled off my tongue, and spread-eagled themselves on your dislodged body as I read and watched last night on video Skype. As I read and watched your flickering eyelids smudge the screen last night, I caught the blue paw of my bareback possessives and verbs as they nudged the air into shape, along our arms, belly, breast, scalp, nape. And I picture you, dead still, there on your chair, with the plant and black-stained frame in the background of the video link. And I'm mouthing and ousting the tangible vowels. So when they kiss your waiting labia, it is as if my sodden hands and besotted tongue and the poems I wrote and chose for us to know just went and crossed the line again last night on video Skype. Just went and found and climbed and lain themselves and blazoned across that liminal line again last night on video Skype. Thank you, Claire. Quite a journey, quite a journey. So there's a few hazards to living in a small town. I'm now reminded of us being one of them. And I was going out for a drink with some friends before going to a gig, and Ruth said that nobody Emily was to mention the word lesbian, because we might bump into her friends from work. Now that's fine, I can go for hours at a time without having to use the lesbian, queer, dyke. But quite how I'm going to have I'm one, untattooed from the very core of my being, I don't know. So it's like, you know, it's sort of humorous in the telling, but there's a lot of work still to do, and that somehow homophobia is sort of tangled in the very DNA of society. I can think, for instance, of well-meaning folks who will vote to end discrimination in their organisations, and then when it comes down to it, to borrow Andrew Solomon's observation, you give them a pair of chopsticks, and they ask which one's the fork. So we'll keep working. This one is more hands-on, where the Skype one was hands-free. And it's called I'm Breathing Down Your Back. I'm breathing down your back. So I'm holding you from behind. I've got one of my big hands on your small butt. The other roams. Now pinching, cupping, teasing, travelling, getting sucked in, opening your some. Pleasuring, fathoming, rousing. Now barely touching, but still unloosing the quick, clicked grunts I've heard you practice in the arm lift in the gym. Unspooling you, pulling you through. Demanding, circling, pressing, guessing, sensing longing muscles tighten and the gut clutch of my penetrating desire. Then, feeling fingers give, letting you have it as I breathe down your neck, unzip along your spine, grip your small butt, shudder as you come from behind. A bit of a strategic cough there because I hadn't put it through the filthometer. I'm not quite sure if any kiddies around yet. So this next poem, it's called Traveller. It's another travelling one. And if we overlook the glimpse of an arse, there's no rude words in it whatsoever, which is quite an achievement really. I've got 3 degrees of dirty in my poetry. It starts with the really rather rude. It goes to the lost in lust. And it ends up at the frankly pornographic. We're a bit middle of the road, but it's still light. It's only 7 o'clock. So this one is Traveller. I'm sat on the bus. Been thinking of us. The scenery's incredible. Fern-rustled, deer-rubbed mountains. Foothills alive to late October. Saplings bristling on Loch Islands. The seats are a leaf maroon, brushed. If you were to glide beside me now, slide your hand to my waistband, unbutton, pull apart the zip. Slip your hand on top of my mound, slow inch, down, down. Your fingers rounding first on the nub of my clit. Its tendered rub tip with its tiny surprise of dry. You'd be gripped in slipperiness, caught in the firm knowledge of my thirst for your touch. Like this. Lust, and we take each other up in it. Every so often, there is an opening in the blaze of trees that lines the roadside, and the morning light spills in. Sometimes desire floods me with its drive like this. Time, space, love swirl themselves fluid. Somewhere else, you are also deep inside me. Only this place I'm naked with my ass up in the air. Up there, quickened breath. In the unmapped headiness, its emptying dizziness of fences. And my cheeks rouge to the sting of the prevailing wind. Sometimes I am on my knees and they are raw with need. Woo. So, finish in, woo, thank you, I like that. A very short poem to finish on, Claire. I'm afraid it's almost over. But we'll meet again, Claire. We'll meet again. Now, so earlier on, I was mentioning the Gmail, the messaging, the parcel on the step. And you're probably all wondering what happened to that parcel on the step. So this last 30-second poem unpicks it. It's called Query. I don't know if anyone's ever written a letter that you don't send. This is the only one that I've ever written like that. And I was renting a flat at the time, and the contract said it would be appreciated if you took your shoes off in the porch. So that's all fine, happy to oblige. No ironing in the bedroom. Not so bad. I hadn't discovered shirts at the time, so no ironing for a year, that was fine. But the one that threw me, no immoral behaviour. No immoral behaviour. I mean, how do you know? So this is the poem that I wrote. Query. Sir, Madam, my question is whether it is moral or not to receive a leather collar through the letterbox. I don't have a dog. Once it was opened and tried, I noticed it came from a place of no return, and I can't go back. Did I mention the lock? I rather feel as if my hands are tied, in a bit of a bind. I am yours, truly. Thank you, you've been a wonderful audience. Find me on Facebook or in a tea shop in Church Stretton. Thank you.
Girlfriends and our cats, again, obviously. Can't fight that shit, can you? That's just biology. That is biology pure and simple. Everybody knows this. When two lesbians meet and fall in love, we rub belly buttons, because, you know, that's what everyone out there thinks we do. And then 3 months later, a kitten appears, because that's where kittens come from. Gay men make puppies. This is Manchester Pride sex education right here. Oh, this is so cool. This is so much fun. I've been a stand-up comic for about 12 years, and then last year I got cast in a thing, which is kind of cool. As well as being a lesbian, also I'm transgender as well, which confuses the hell out of some people. Like, what? Trans and a lesbian? What the hell was the point in that? Because people often don't understand, you know, that there's a difference between gender and sexuality. You know, 10 years ago when I first came to this Pride, when I first performed at this Pride festival, you know, I was talking about this stuff and people were like genuinely sort of like freaked out by it. You know, and it's the thing, you know, gender, sexuality is who you want to go to bed with, gender is who you want to go to bed as. That simple. You know, but there's a really long and complicated explanation of exactly what it is. So generally when people ask how you can be trans and a lesbian, I just tend to tell them I really hate cock. I know exactly, I've shown more of a commitment to hating cock than almost any other lesbian I know. Well, this is it, we've come a long way. I came out and transitioned about 15 years ago. And, like, back then, there were no positive role models for people like me. I never knew anyone who was like me anywhere, either in the media or anything else like that. And I'll never forget when I came out to my mum. I remember telling my mum that I was trans, and her response to that was to sort of stare at me for a couple of seconds, and then out of nowhere she went, "But we've just had a conservatory built." I don't know what I was expecting from her, but that was right at the bottom of the list of things that I would have expected. Now the thing is, I've got a friend who you might know, he often hosts the Vigil here, a guy called Jonathan Mayer. Yeah, Jonathan Mayer, he's absolutely fantastic. He's a really, really good guy. Incredibly camp guy, absolutely fantastic. I told him this story. After I told him this story, he came to visit me. And as we were leaving, I went to my parents' house, and as we were leaving, he leaned over to me and went, "To be fair to your mother, it is a fabulous conservatory." But you know, people's reactions were different back then. My brother was concerned that me being trans would mean that his kids would grow up confused. You know, I told him, "You've already decided to raise them Catholic, that's on you." You know, the thing is, kids get used to this, and this is one of the great things today. Wandering around Pride today and seeing so many families, seeing so many people out there with kids. You know, I couldn't have imagined that 20 years ago. That's great, isn't it? I mean, admittedly, 20 years ago, not being able to have kids was one of the best things about being gay. you know. But it is nice to see how things change. And things have changed, and it's baby steps, but we get there in the end. And that's kind of how we get to where we are now. Because where we are now is absolutely amazing. It really is. Oh, sorry, I completely forget. Hello. You're right. Sorry, I forgot about that. I was something, whoa, what's going on here? Sorry, I get really distracted. That's because I noticed someone before. One of the best things I've seen today, in the whole of today, and I don't know whether it was you or whether it was someone else who was signing, but somebody out in the audience saw someone who was signing and thought that they were trying to call them over. And so came walking over going, hello, yeah, what do you want? It was brilliant. Sorry, no, I get really distracted. Right, you'll notice this about it. It's because I used to do a lot of drugs. I don't do it anymore. I mean, most of my 20s were spent in my own kitchen taking ecstasy and dancing to my extractor fan. You know, occasionally setting the smoke alarm off so a beat would drop. That's sort of the speed that I was at. I don't do that anymore. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I've not had any drink or drugs for about 10 years now. Bloody hell, there's more Americans in than I expected. There's a very American reaction to hearing that. You say, I haven't had a drink in 10 years, your average American will go, well, yeah, go you! 1 day at a time! It's fucking beautiful. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. Until they have spent enough time in the UK around British people who, when you go and hear someone say something like, I haven't had a drink in 10 years, and they go, woo! And you see them going, no, don't do that. There is no reason to be that excited about anything. Because British people tend to give the same response, which is a response that quite a lot of you out in this park today gave upon hearing someone say that they haven't had a drink in 10 years, which is to sit there with your arms folded, staring at me judgmentally. But I haven't had a drink in 10 years? What the hell is wrong with you? You better be on antibiotics. Because that's genuinely the only reason we're allowed to give not to drink, isn't it? Most of the time. I can't, I'm on antibiotics. All right, I'll have a half. Let's see where this party ends up. That's cool. I think the reason I don't is I'm a recovering drug addict. That's what that is. I'm 10 years in recovery. I didn't even realise I had a drug problem. That was a weird thing. That snuck up on me. Because like most addicts, I went and hung around with other people who drank and did drugs in the same way that I did. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I don't have a problem. They're doing them the same way I do. There's a really simple test to see if you've got a drug problem, right? If you think you might do, just have a think back, right? And if you have ever found yourself at 3 o'clock in the morning, walking up to a 24-hour garage, carrying a frozen chicken, because you assume you're going to need some sort of backstory to buy tinfoil, if you find yourself walking up to that bulletproof glass going, have you got any tinfoil? I need to cook that. That is not what you are cooking, my friend. So yeah, so I don't drink or do drugs anymore. Sorry, that was just me getting really distracted there. So yeah, like I say, I live with my girlfriend, who's awesome. She's Swedish and a nurse. So, I know, right? I know I'm punching well above my weight. It's brilliant. I am living every teenage fantasy. It's fantastic. She's great. She puts up with me being an idiot, because I know I'm an idiot. This is one of the things that I've learned over many years. I am a fool. I will regularly say the wrong thing. In any given situation, I will say the worst possible thing. It doesn't matter whether it's like a general social situation, or even the worst one is when you're trying to be sexy. I don't know if anyone else in this park tonight does that. When you're with your partner, and you think of something, you go, this is sexy. This is so going to turn them on. And then you say the words, and you hear them coming out of your mouth into the real world where other people exist, and all you can think is, what the fuck is wrong with me? Well, here's an example of this, right? I'm going to say to you what I said to her a couple of weeks ago, right? Started off lovely, ended up really creepy. Right, it did. I'll say to you what I said to her. Let's see if you can tell where it all went wrong, shall we? Because we're lying in bed, and I just turned to her and, oh, I love you so much, I just want to eat you up and make a necklace out of your teeth. The hell is that? It's the sort of thing a serial killer would say. It's ridiculous. I've been with her for about 2.5 years now. Before that, I was single for about 2.5 years, which is usually rubbish. but not when you do this job. When you do this job for a living, it is awesome being single, because if a gig goes well, sometimes you get chatted up, which is great. Apart from, I did a gig in Clitheroe, because I'm dyslexic and that is false advertising. I know, it's almost as disappointing as Nuneaton. Cockermouth was a pleasant surprise. But I was doing this gig and this woman came over to try and chat me up afterwards and she was hammered, like, have you ever been that drunk you have to concentrate on your breathing? I know some of you are right now. This is pride. You know when you're that drunk that you're going... Am I still breathing? Yeah. She was that drunk she couldn't breathe and walk without concentrating on both of them a little bit too much. So she sort of came walking over to us going... like some sort of steam-powered Tina Turner. And then when she spoke, she sounded like Hilary Devey off Dragon's Den. You know what I mean? I love her, she's brilliant. You know the one who looks like a cross between Cruella de Vil and a badly upholstered armchair? You know the one who... Because she came over and she went, I liked you. I sort of stood there with my drink going, thanks, right? And suddenly she went, my husband's gone off sex, you know. Don't blame him, to be honest. She went, he's away on business at the moment. I'm very lonely. Would you like to come back to my house? Which is terrifying. Probably the worst chat-up line I think I've ever heard as well, although in her defence, she did make a good breakfast. But yeah, so I went and met my missus and she's awesome. She's really cool. Because, like, again, like I say, growing up trans, you kind of think that you're never going to meet anybody. You think that if you meet someone, no one's ever going to want to go out with you. And I met this person who's absolutely amazing, who just is everything that I've ever wanted. And I know I'm an idiot, and I decided that I wanted to marry her. Because we can do now. And I decided I was going to ask her to marry me.
Who's on
next? Hello, you alright?
Who's on next?
Who's on next? Kind of a bit of an odd time to sort of go asking that, but that's quite alright. You appear to have mistaken this for a conversation, but bit busy at the moment.
Finally, you said something funny! At last!
Yeah, I've been saying stuff that's funny all the time while I've been up here. You see, the thing is, when I finish talking, everyone's been laughing. And the problem here is, I've got a microphone, you don't have anything, I am going to fucking win this. I know, there's no trick to it. I finish talking, they get fucking laughing. That's how it works. You finish talking, they shut the fuck up.
It is asking politely who's on next.
See? You did that, Silence.
I asked a question.
Jess Stratton's on next.
Who?
Yeah. There we go. That kind of fucked that story up a little bit. By the way, everyone else can see him, can't they? That's not some sort of magic mushroom flashback I'm having. That really just happens, didn't it? I love Pride. What was this? No, that was the thing. I decided I was going to ask my girlfriend to marry me. And like I say, I know I'm an idiot. I know I say the wrong thing, so I planned it. She was away visiting her parents, and I knew that when she came back, I was going to take her out for a meal, and I practiced what I was going to say. I was going to say to her, listen, ever since I first met you, it's kind of felt like I've been in a dream. And if I am, I don't ever want to wake up, because I'd rather live in a dream with you than in the real world without you. You make me a better person through knowing you. For the first time in my life, I know what it means to be someone's other half. Will you marry me? No, that's what I wanted to say. What came out was, neither of us are getting any thinner. Absolute idiots. Anyway. See, if you'd have just waited a few seconds, I was finished. That was all it took. It is now time for me to go and introduce the next act.
Walk away. Moonlight falling on the streets of the city. Time for shadows to come out to play.
See the rainbow, touch the rainbow. This is Gay Pride, Manchester 2015. 25 years in the making. This has been a Chris Summerfield Media Production 2015. You can contact me, sponsor me, support me at PayPal, christophersummerfield@gmail.com. Thanks for a great time.